There are sales aplenty this time of year, an increase too in the number of events. For these reasons and more, you may be on the road more than usual. Therefore, safety when shopping and marrying should be of importance. To remain safe while enjoying the season, we turn to the Consumer Affairs Commission. I'm Sandra Clark. Stay with us. The magazine unfolds now.
Do you have a loved one, friend, or client who passed away since 1998? The Electoral Office of Jamaica needs your help to update the voters list with information for these persons, government agencies, churches, insurance companies, hospitals, and funeral homes, and you, the public. We want you to provide us with the records to confirm the status of these persons. Call the EOJ at 888-991-VOTE or visit the nearest EOJ office. For more information, visit our website at ecj.com.jm.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, December 18. The government's investment promotion agency JAMPRO secured $166.7 million in foreign direct investments across various sectors between April and June this year. JAMPRO's chairman, Senator Don Webby, made the disclosure in the Senate on Friday. In addition, he says export for the period was $407.3 million. Senator Webby says with the national investment policy coming on stream next year, it will establish a comprehensive framework to guide the development, administration, and monitoring of the investment community.
This is to ensure cohesion among all related initiatives, programs, incentives regimes, and stakeholders' contributions.
Meanwhile, JAMPRO is working on the roadmap to position Jamaica within the top 10 ranking in the World Bank Doing Business report. Jamaica is ranked 75 out of 190 countries in the latest report.
In trying to achieve that objective, Mr. President, we have engaged the World Bank and IFC Global Regulatory Team to identify the reforms needed. Discussions are going well, and I'm really hoping that Jamaica, that we can report in a few years that we are in the top 10 in Doing Business report.
The Litchfield Main Road in Manchester, which was resurfaced with concrete, is now opened. Work on the 530 meters of roadway was done under Phase 1 of the concrete road rehabilitation project at a cost of $10.8 million. Minister Audley Shaw, who is Member of Parliament for the area, commended Carib Cement for undertaking the project.
I'm very grateful to you for selecting this area as yet another area to demonstrate the superiority of a concrete road over an asphalted road.
Residents of Litchfield, meanwhile, say the road will provide easy commute for farmers to sell their produce and provide income for other community members.
This community is a farming community where you have farmers who, if they can take their produce to the side of the road, the vendors come in, park their vehicle at the side of the road, and it's easy business for them instead of we have to take it to Christiana or to Mandeville. So it's a very good thing for the community.
The Health Ministry's capacity to tackle HIV and AIDS has received a boost with the donation of a mobile testing unit valued at over $12 million. This was provided by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and handed over on Thursday at the Bustamante Hospital for Children.
The mobile unit is geared towards bringing closer to the communities, within the communities, allowing individuals who are otherwise busy to take less time and in a more efficient manner experience the tests that could save their lives by giving them information of their status, and certainly in testing also provide key additional information around management and control of this epidemic.
Dr. Tufton says it's anticipated that the mobile unit will encourage more persons to get tested and begin treatment if found positive. The health minister says over 18,000 tests have been conducted annually since the introduction of the first buses in 2010. Residents of Linstead, St. Catherine and its environs are finding it easier and more convenient to fill prescriptions. The service is being provided through the newly opened NHF DrugServe pharmacy at the Linstead Hospital. The facility was built at a cost of $31 million with money from the National Health Fund.
I want to commend those who have been a part of this pharmacy build-out. $31 million, 8 months on time, within budget. That's my mantra to the NHF, and they have not failed me yet.
CEO of the Linstead Hospital, Paul McIntyre, says the project provides the opportunity to repurpose the old pharmacy department into wards.
The plan is to use that space to expand the female ward, which is expected to reduce the waiting time for admissions in A&E.
In addition, the hospital's CEO says the operating theatre is slated for renovations in the coming months. In other health sector news, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is commending the National Health Fund on winning 5 awards at the recent Private Sector Organization of Jamaica PSOJ Corporate Governance Awards. This includes the award for top public body.
What it, in simplistic terms, means is that the NHF, through its board and its management and its staff, have been recognized in the entire public system, and there are quite a number of boards, by the way, in the public system, as the top performing entity in terms of corporate governance in the public service.
Dr. Tufton says this recognition reflects the NHF's work to increase the number of drug-serve dispensing window locations from 80 to 160 within the last 2 years. For his part, NHF's CEO, Everton Anderson, says the fund continues to implement measures to improve its services. He says ISO certification of large drug-serve pharmacies is underway following the certification of its warehouses.
So by the end of March, we'll have 4 drug serves where their processes are international standard organization certified. And these 4 will be Mandeville, KPH, Port Maria, and Greater Portmore.
And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has expressed high expectations of the Reggae Girls going into the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. Mr. Holness was speaking at a reception he hosted for the girls at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel last night and gave his commitment to support the team.
We have always done far better than people expect us to do. And I get the sense from you that you're going to do far better than the world expects you to do. I encourage other Jamaicans of means to come on board and join this effort. Indeed, I will speak to Michael and Coach Benzies about my own personal contribution.
The reception is part of a 4-day program to celebrate the Reggae Girls' qualification for the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, says a series of practice matches are also scheduled before the girls' departure for France.
We want to play as many as 6 international practice games leading up to the World Cup. We want to play 2 games here. We must give the Jamaican people a chance to see these girls. A number of you might have missed the opportunity here earlier, but we want to ensure that before we go down to France, you would have gotten a chance to see them.
Jamaica is now the first Caribbean nation to qualify a team to both the Men's and Women's World Cup, following the Reggae Boys' trip to the 1998 World Cup, also in France. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me block, cyber take away your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit. From you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
Up next, the whereabouts and activities of Prime Minister Andrew Holness during the past week.
Prime Minister takes decisive action on Auditor General's report, pledges additional funds for detention centres under states of emergency, and
as citizens, we have to put our trust in the security forces and not in the criminals.
You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez.
I have come to the conclusion, based upon the meeting and what is in the report, that there needs to be a forensic audit.
That's just one of the directives Prime Minister Andrew Holness issued Monday following his review of the Auditor General's report into operations at Petrojam. Mr. Holness has instructed the Cabinet Office to place in the Minister's Code of Conduct that they have quarterly meetings to review the minutes and activities of the boards which fall under their ministries. Ministers must also meet with their board chairmen and board members biannually to review policy. New regulations for board meetings at Petrojam have been ordered to ensure transparency in the refinery's oil pricing mechanisms.
Two things. One is to ensure that the minutes of the meeting are taken and sent to independent oversight bodies, and to include other persons. I'm thinking, for example, the Consumer Affairs Commission, a representative from the Ministry of Finance. But I will give further details as to how that can be done. And that will help to bring some level of clarity.
The Petrojam board has also been mandated to seek legal advice with a view to recover funds that were possibly misused. Prime Minister Holness also sought the public's understanding, as the Auditor General's report was only a part of the ongoing investigation into Petrojam.
Jamaica can only benefit. Our system of governance can only grow stronger if we establish that there has to be a principle of restitution. If public agents cause funds to be used inappropriately, illegally, then those who benefited and those who caused the government to lose must make restitution.
And while at Monday's press conference, Prime Minister Andrew Holness reassured that there were no immediate plans to divest Petrojam. He said the pending report by the Petrojam Review Commission would provide recommendations on the way forward.
Policy of the government is one of wealth creation. So as far as possible, that we have these assets, we should seek to have the ownership shared with the public. Not just private sector entity, but we should seek to have our stock market expanded, to have democratic ownership, if you want to put it that way.
Prime Minister Holness reasoned that due diligence would be given to the process if and when a ruling to divest the entity is made. He, however, noted that the slow pace of negotiations to buy back Venezuela's shares in Petrojam would also affect decisions at the entity. Mr. Holness also announced that National Energy Solutions NESOL would be absorbed into the Ministry of Energy. The move, the Prime Minister said, was part of the state's public sector transformation program. Mr. Holness was quick to add that NESOL would still execute its core function of management, evaluation and implementation of all renewable projects.
There are other agencies which I am presently reviewing, and then after I'm finished with that, I will make similar announcements.
On Tuesday, the Prime Minister told the House of Representatives that the state would be providing funds to improve the physical condition of detention centres. The money, he said, would be included in the second supplementary estimates for the current financial year. It follows the Prime Minister's tour of detention centres in Kingston and St Andrew, St Catherine and St James on December 8. Mr. Holness also reiterated his administration's commitment to protecting and safeguarding the human rights of all Jamaicans, while reducing the country's crime rate.
My assessment is that we have to consider improving the dietary provisions for the... we have to consider it, and I've given a direction to the Minister of Finance to, in the upcoming supplementary budget, to make an allocation. The bathroom facilities are always in a position where they can be improved. That's my personal view. So we will be looking at making some improvements
as we can to as many of them.
The Prime Minister also sought and Parliament granted an extension for the zones of special operations in Mount Salem, St. James and Denham Town in West Kingston for a further 60 days. Parliamentarians, however, voted against extending the states of public emergency in St. Catherine North, St. James and sections of the Kingston Central, Kingston Western and St. Andrew South police divisions. By Wednesday, Mr. Holness met with the 2018 youth mayors. He urged the young leaders to be transformative, shun violence and embrace the security forces' role as peace officers.
So we are at a tipping point. It's either we tip over and allow the criminals to take over, or we tip over and give some trust to the police, support systems of accountability, be active citizens participating in the oversight and supervision of your elected officials to ensure that our security forces are following the law. That is where we are. What I see here today, I'm confident that Jamaica will tip in the right direction.
And on Wednesday, the Prime Minister dispatched Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark to represent him at the book launch for former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson. The book, My Political Journey, Jamaica's sixth Prime Minister, chronicles the former Prime Minister's personal and public life. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
We're still with the Prime Minister. A group of students from Penwood High were recently a lucky bunch. They were guests of Mr. Holness as he shared with them the importance of staying in school to become the best versions of themselves. Take a look.
The first step of wanting to get empowerment and be empowered is you must never be satisfied with the way you are. You must always be seeking to improve. So you must always be seeking more, seeking better, because you can always do better. You can always improve. And I believe that sometimes in our society, we don't always encourage people to improve. Even in our household, we tend to say, well, you're just like your daddy, meaning to say you're not going to be better than what your father or parent has achieved. You're going like you're better than people, meaning to say that we must all stay at the lower stage and not seek to improve ourselves. In fact, there is this thing in our culture that makes it appear as if someone is trying to improve themselves, they are doing something bad. That is true, right? When what we should be doing is to applaud people who work hard and achieve. right? Yes, that's what we should do. But somehow in our culture, we have turned it upside down. And it is very pervasive in the classroom because you see what happens is it provides cover for people who are lazy and people who don't want to change and people who are set on a pathway to failure. So they don't want anyone doing better than the average because then they will have to put out a little bit more effort. Now, if that is allowed to be the common standard in the society, then our society will never improve. So, one of the things I want to give you today is that you must never be ashamed of success. And you must always seek to be the best at what you do, to be excellent.
Christmas is a time for celebration. We, however, only want you to have positive memories of the season come January. Our only plea to you, be safe. Watch this.
We're asking parents and family members who are buying gifts to ensure that they check and double check the quality of the toy, ensure that there are no sharp edges, no loose, small parts. So you're buying a teddy bear for a pre-toddler. Make sure it doesn't have any removable eyes that can be bitten off and swallowed by the child, etc. And for the adults, it's also to ensure that what you're buying, you buy from a reputable establishment. Ensure that you ask for a warranty. Ensure that the warranty includes whether or not it includes labor, if there's a limited time period, how much is required to be invested by the consumer in order to replace that item, repair that item, and or get your refund. We also think about the safety of the consumer online. And so what we want to ask you to do is to ensure that you look for the key things. Go online, go into the search engine, type the name of the store, look for that green padlock, and HTTPS, remember that S, before you start entering your banking information. The major block of complaints that the Consumer Affairs Commission gets is on electrical equipment. So we're saying to consumers, test that item when you buy it in the store. Look for that UL stamp on the cord to ensure that it's not some fly-by-night wiring. Ensure that when you plug it in, it doesn't spark. We're also asking that you ask for a written warranty for that item before you leave the store. Consumer protection is about collective security, collective concern, collective advocacy. So we're asking you look out for each other, you ensure that your family is safe, your neighbor is safe, your community is safe, and that the products and the foods and all the things that you intend to consume over the holidays are also safe. So call us, email, write, walk in. We'll be ready to assist for any concern that you may have or any doubts that you may have about any transaction that you have encountered in the marketplace.
right now, I just want to know some have food and me have good health and strength to take care of my children. Them.
The gifts and for go to church and enjoy and spend time with their family and just enjoy Christmas.
Good health. If once you have good health, you get anything you want. What, am I right or am I wrong?
Right.
If you're sick, you can't get nothing. Right? So, we wish everybody a happy Christmas and good health.
A break from work.
Gets the money and the food.
Less crime, more job. Peace and happiness.
Spend time with my family.
I just really like a peace and quiet life. I don't like too much. If you even have excitement, it must be, crime-free.
Spending time with my daughter.
To a peaceful, tranquil time, when people really get to realize that the world got a savior and therefore we need to celebrate the birth of our savior.
What is the National Identification System? The new National ID will for the first time give Jamaicans one ID that is trusted and verifiable. This means easier access to government services like PATH and NIS. It will be easier to do business with the government and the private sector. Eventually, there'll be no need to walk with more than one ID. Support the new National ID. Get the facts at nidsfacts.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at nidsfacts.
Thanks for hanging with us today. Please visit our social media pages so you can remain in the know while we're off screen. Click on any one of these handles displayed and you may find us there. Or send us an email if you have a comment or a question. Until next time, I'm Sandra Clark. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.